expressive and emotive and exciting. We're gonna sit up because I've noticed that. Let's sit up straight. I love testing, Josh. I absolutely love it.
If we can keep this level of smiles and extreme joy the whole time, we probably won't get any subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta
get coding.
We gotta get coding.
It's kind of fun just hanging out. So
waking up.
Yeah, I do feel more awake now at this point, so that's good. My name's Brian, and I'm trying to stop saying
My name is Josh. I'm trying to stop saying a lot of things.
And this is
Mr. J and Friends. We left off with having a few more tests. And so, for instance, we have tested everything that's in the phone module. Not necessarily fully, but we've got tests in place for that. And now we want to start testing some more things related to our Firebase interactions.
We're testing functions that have a single responsibility. So there's kind of two aspects of application design that we're touching on. And when we separate out the responsibilities of a function, the testing actually becomes easier.
Once you've done TDD for a while, test-driven development, so I've heard, you get to the point where you automatically write your functions in a way that are easy to test, and you get that practice in place to have cleaner code, cleaner tests, a nice marrying of the two of those concepts together.
Yeah, you definitely can. That's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Some people are strict TDD all the way, and that's okay too.
I honestly think that I would like to do TDD and need to try it.
I would encourage anybody out there that hasn't done strict TDD, try it as a discipline and see where it takes you.
Let's start with this one. It is one of the first things that happens on the page.
Yeah, last week we left off with creating an index.test.
We did.
And so this is the index file. We've also got the phone module and the phone test.
What's awesome about this is the process of abstracting it out and starting to think about the test has led us to cleaning this up.
Looking at our design.
Yeah.
It's really revealing our dependencies as well.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if we just changed index.js to be called app instead of moving stuff? Do we need index?
No. I like that idea. That seems appropriate. Oh yeah, interesting.
That was nice.
Yeah, thank you, Visual Studio Code.
Let's change import index to import app. Capital app. And let's, inside app, let's make sure we're exporting app. Scroll up to the opening of 54.
No, it's not a closure right now. It's just a add event listener.
Okay.
At the moment.
Perfect. Yeah, does the application run now?
That's a good question. I have seen some heavy caching here on my Firebase serve, so I have to hard reload every time. No errors. The way that I have to see
rendered.
this, yeah, is I have to go down here to sensors, custom orientation, and there we go.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so we're working.
We're working.
Now let's write a test for add phones to page. We have our app test. Let's split that window with the test and close our...
So we're testing add phones to page.
Right, and we like to describe it scenario, right?
We do.
So let's describe add phones to page. I'm going to encourage you to employ discipline on not changing the logic of the code.
Yeah.
And right now, just keep once in the function until we get tests around it. And then after we've got the tests around it, then we'll change the function and the call from once to
I feel encouraged.
the other one.
I
What it's called.
I like the encouragement there.
Okay. So on load,
It's gonna take most of this.
you can, either way.
The whole
can do
thing?
that. Yeah, grab the whole thing and
for
then
now.
you're going to put the whole thing in on load and then you're just going to delete the parts that you don't want.
Okay.
So we're basically going to take out the callback function, the whole thing,
Okay.
right?
Potentially we could just return the snapshot.
Well, I like what you just took out there. So you're saying the snapshot is, I can't see the actual function definition there. Can you scroll to the right? Okay, so the snapshot is being given to our callback on line 54.
Yeah.
So let's keep snapshot, and on load, let's provide a function to call on load. So let's do some function composition here. We need to give that function a name and make it a parameter of on load. Do you have a preference for the name?
I don't. I'm tracking 50%, so keep going.
Okay.
Name it at will.
So onload's going to take a function that we give it. Sure, for now, call it fn. And then once onload loads, it's going to call that function.
Okay.
So we'll have the data we need. And that, I would keep that there.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that, we're going to call fn. And we're going to give it the users. And if we scroll up,
You can see now why I wanted to change it. Anyway, keep going. Keep going.
yeah, it's okay. Scroll up. What do we have? Now we can remove the duplicate code from add phones to page. So we can get rid of line 40. We can get rid of line 41, 48.
For now. Yeah. Okay.
And now we are going to have the users passed in. Add phones to page is going to be
Do we want to change the
our
name
function.
of it? Add initial phones to page is kind of how it was. No, this is.
I think add phones to page is more accurate than add initial because we've
True.
just removed the logic that is explicitly doing it initially on the page load. That's the Firebase.database call that does it once, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, on line 58, we need to say on load because we only call that once, add phones to page. Now, we need to use a capital L.
Thank you.
This is the benefit of pair programming. It's live code review, right?
I see no gray functions anymore, so there's no uncalled
Right.
useless functions
So if we do a quick check on this,
on our. See if it's working. You mean?
sure. Let's do that.
I should have that sort of.
We need a favorite icon.
We do need a favorite icon. Okay, looks like it's still working. Nice.
So if we look on line 58, we're calling onload. So that's the entry point into the application. Onload takes a function reference. You'll notice it's a function reference because there's not the parentheses there. So that's just pointing to the location of that function in memory. That reference is being passed into onload, which is assigned to fn. Then on load, we're calling Firebase. We're getting the users only once. And then after that's done, it's executing the callback on line 52. It gives us the snapshot. We're getting the users from the snapshot. And then we're giving our function fn the users we just got. And our function fn is actually add phones to page. So on line 54, that's translated as add phones to page for these users. Function composition.
I'm now a functional programmer.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is what it's about. The nice thing here, as we'll see later, is that we can now add phones to page at any point and give it any arbitrary list of users associated with phones, and it doesn't have to happen only on page load.
Sweet. So now we could test add phones to page, or we're getting closer to being able to test it easily because it's not doing
let's test it
as many things yet.
Let's do it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it. While Brian is on his phone, I want to mention that my brother, Mike, is in the Philippines. He's been there for almost 2 months now, maybe a month and a half. And he just decided about a year ago, I'm going to go to the Philippines. I'm going to go help the families and children in the slums. And he did it. He sold his house, sold his Jeep, sold his motorcycle, packed up everything, gave away a bunch of stuff, has nothing, moved to the Philippines, he bought a motorcycle there. Actually, you could call it a motorcycle. It's more like a moped, 150 cc's, something like that. And drives
so cool.
Drives around, tries to contact as many orphanages as he can, and drives around to those, videos them, sees if they have a good vibe, and if they do, he says, give to this orphanage. It's a pretty awesome thing. So I'll link somewhere.
And what's his name?
His name's Mike, and the mission, he's calling it Mission Manila.
Okay.
He also considered something like motorcycle preacher or motorcycle mission or something, but yeah, Mission Manila.
Mission Manila. So Mike, Mission Manila, I've seen his videos. They're actually really awesome. He just gives a raw account of his experiences over in the Philippines. He's never been to the Philippines before, is that right?
He's never been outside of the U.S. before.
And so Mike he had this on his heart and he just like went for it, right? Mm-hmm. And he's documenting it the whole way. It's something that he's doing that's good for people and the kids, and he's trying to raise awareness and raise money.
His first motorcycle trip, round trip, about 5 hours. 1 block from getting home, got into a motorcycle wreck and busted up his knee, which is still hurting him.
That's too bad it's still hurting him, but
yeah.
I've been following his videos as well, and I'm really liking it. So, hi Mike. We've never met, but keep doing what you're doing. It's great, man. The subject under test must be invoked in our test. So our subject under test is going to be
add phones to page.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say app.add phones to page. It was app, right?
Yes.
Now app has immediately when we take this approach, our API exposes its dependencies to us. Mm-hmm. Where do we put our dependencies when we write a test? 3 different elements, right? We have a subject under test. We have the dependencies for that subject under test. And then we have the assertions we want to make on the behavior. Now, you mentioned it doesn't return anything.
Right, so what are we going to expect here? If we were going to expect, we would be expecting something about this phones object, which we don't have as a dependency yet, or something about the document elements that were added to the page, which we also don't have.
If you look at line 12, internet.
Oh no, it's 8:43.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up.
We're picking up speed even though we're doing small amounts at a time. It's getting easier and easier, and we're getting cleaner and cleaner. I keep expecting the next one to be our finish, but I think it'll be our next one.
Next week we can cover spies. Sometimes I think I do too many programming languages.
Yeah.
I need the reference. This is real world programming here where you're like, yeah, I used to know this, but I've been doing Java for so long that I forgot the syntax.
And honestly, as has been disclosed a lot by seasoned developers, we still Google all the time for stuff like this. Simple stuff that you just have to, some of it you memorize with muscle memory, and some of it you haven't done for 2 months, so you got to go back and Google it again.
Okay. We're going to set up our expectation. So we've got the for each users. We're going to expect, we'll call this spy. For now, we'll give it a generic name. I think this is all from memory, so it's probably not going to work, but you get the general idea. We're going to spy on this method append child, and then what that means is it's going to enable us to access the calls made to it, and we can expect that spy to have been called.
Does that need to be data?
Probably. Does that mean did we actually need to do this?
That was weird. You just did the shortcut for code folding. You folded that up.
I'm thinking we still do need that. Yeah. So it does need to be outside of it.
But so does the other one.
I mean, can we just bring everything out and then just call onload?
Yeah.
Is that going to be okay?
Should be. Well, the provider, I think that those initial two ones need to be up there. Because we can't start to use Firebase.
This one?
No. Go up to the top where we defined the provider.
Window.
Yeah, those two things, const provider and const database, and initiate login. And yeah, those four I think need to be inside. Just those four.
Right here.
Well, maybe that too.
And it was
Right there.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
So if you like this messy, figuring it out, off the cuff type of programming, make sure you like and subscribe.
Make sure you do.
Firebase is not defined. It shouldn't be called yet because we're doing onload inside add event listener DOM content loaded. However, we're in a test environment. So the test environment is not waiting for that. So what we've just exposed here, actually, is a dependency. So the test is saying, well, we depend on this Firebase thing and it's not there because we don't have a DOM load event. So anytime there's a dependency that's not our subject under test, but a dependency of our subject under test, what do we need to do with it?
We need to go to work.
Yeah, we need to mock it. Exactly. So tune in next week when we mock Firebase and we get these tests working.
And thank you for watching with us and exploring this. We're getting to a really clean spot. I really appreciate Brian's input on how to break apart the modules, how to put the tests in place, and we're going to end up with a stinking clean code base soon. When I went to Twitch, most of the booths would say, "Oh, I recognize you," and I'd say, "We're not accepting sponsors yet."
That's good.
But I gave them, I wrote down my name.
True story, right?
True story.
So how's the hernia journey? Is this gonna be? Are we gonna?
I really like that title, the hernia journey.
The hernia journey.
Yeah.
So really, we write tests for software as an excuse to talk about Josh's hernia on the internet.
Yeah, and hernias have a stigma for good reason.
What is that, Josh?
Well, I mean, it has to do
Please tell us.
with intestines, which aren't something you like to talk about.
Fair.
If you look up pictures of hernias, it's a scary journey.
Is it?
Yeah, we could do that, but we won't. And most hernias, little known fact, guys are much more prone to hernias than females. Which kind of makes sense because otherwise every birth would involve a hernia. The hernia journey is going well. I am
good.
scheduled for the repair, which is done by the local plasters union. No,
It's one of those little sheetrock repair kits, right?
Well, they have the little tape,
The mesh
with the mud. Yeah,
So you put the mesh on there and then you mud it up.
on the inside.
Well, yeah, that's why you have to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just have to not eat before midnight the night before.
And that's next week?
It's a couple weeks.
A couple weeks?
Not-
Okay.
not-
2 weeks.
Not supposed to take any blood thinners.
That's good.
Outpatient.
It's good to know, actually.
I could be at work the next day. I'm going to work from home the next day.
Cheers. Yeah, my dad's actually got a hernia, so I'm legitimately interested in hearing about this and how it goes. And maybe he'll be watching this video and
Yeah. I've still been working out a little bit, but I've been really careful.
okay.
The doctors didn't seem too concerned about that, given the small size of my hernia and my large muscles. That's how the hernia journey's going in general.
Thing yesterday, I'm Brian and
You winked at the camera. My wife laughs at me every time I wink at her. I'm apparently not very good at it.
it's a mix between hilarity and nervousness.
And a quick hernia check.
I think eventually I'd like to figure out how to do a real sponsorship.
Yeah.
We can help with a lot of things.
We're confident,
Competent
and cognizant.
and cognitive.
Do it.
Your turn.
Got nothing.
We're in California.
We're in California, so obviously we can help. We need feedback.
And
Give it to us.
I'm tripping on my words. You gotta edit that out.
Most of this will get edited. Go for it.
I'm ready. Are we? Where do we where do we do the ding?
Oh, what ding?
Don't we?
Wait, 1, 2.
To try it as a discipline and see. Sorry.
Give us feedback.
Like and subscribe. Comment below. Right there. Comment.
Now.